So the 167 just represents the dollar amount that came back to you after we subtracted anything that would have been paid to us, which was maybe on the leases that had a reduced book value still. So this is just after all this money completely belongs to the city, which so on the 29 vehicles. So
it's basically the sales price minus a few things.
Yes.
Minus any sort of balance owed. So we talked about some of those early lease turn-ins or whatever.
Right.
Because our lease is open-ended, we don't write it down to $0 necessarily. There may be $5,000 left on that lease.
And this is over 2 years.
Whatever we get, that difference.
This is over the past 2 years, and that's representing also city-owned vehicles. So the ones that you didn't owe anything on, obviously that was completely yours.
Yeah, so the goal was 198,000 in 1 year.
Yes.
Per your presentation.
Yes, and I believe that
can you
number
comment
is 34 vehicles, I think we were supposed to sell, but we didn't get all the vehicles to come in, so this represents 29 vehicles sold.
So is that just a function of we weren't ready, the market wasn't ready, or what?
We had a few cancellations, parts constraints, we'll have a few more vehicles to pick up to sell, so we should be getting, once we sell and have everything implemented, we should be closer to mirroring those numbers.
Okay, so that's still a decent number.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Once it's all done, it's just taking longer. Okay.
I mean, the good thing is we're selling a bunch of vehicles that we own
Yeah.
that aren't going to be sold in a couple of years. They're going to be gone, so we won't have that going back into these numbers.
And this really wasn't necessarily part of the objectives for signing it, but something to highlight was so Enterprise was able to return $144,000 in incentives. Now that's incentives on acquisition of the vehicle. So really, really solid performance there, really, because over the last, call it year or 2 years during the pandemic, with production constraints, the manufacturers have really pretty much gone away from offering any incentives. Government has been a little stronger, and our ability to negotiate those rebates for you brought back $144,000 off the Cadillac.
That's not sticker minus what you paid?
No, it's a rebate off of invoice. Yeah.
And how that normally works is we work with local manufacturer reps, and Rob will, go talk to this manufacturer depending who we're using. Be like, the city is, committing to doing vehicles to you. What can we do for them? So he's negotiating on your behalf with our government.
And then last thing really wanted to highlight, and again, talked about it earlier, but it's very impressive again, especially in just a 2-year cycle, to turn an age of a fleet from 12 years old and worth nothing to 2.8 years average fleet. Very, very well done there. And I think your employees are probably happier driving nicer cars. The brand is represented.
Our residents are not.
Yeah.
They don't understand the lease.
Show them the fleet equity and
Show
them this presentation. Yeah, check it out.
They won't drive
Being
a new
recorded.
vehicle.
They won't sit through the whole presentation.
And sure won't complain about it.
For instance, the first year of the truck that I was driving,
Yeah.
when we sold it, it came out more money than what we had, even with the original purchase plus all the maintenance, which virtually nothing. And all of that, it came out, it sold for more than we did the year before.
Yep.
Great time.
I think we made $10,000 off of your vehicle.
Yeah,
Back to the city.
yeah.
We're spending too much time parked then.
More money.
So looking at the list from, I'm assuming pre-EFS, there is a total of 37 vehicles on here. There are 2 fire. Is Chief still out there?
Pardon?
So there's 2 on here, but we only have 1, right? Besides the 2 trucks? We just have the 1 chief truck.
Inspections truck. The city inspections are carried in our budget because it's the.
Gotcha.
I'm in Sanders garage.
Yeah, but we don't have his yet.
He just got his today. He is driving it today.
I guess my other question is, looking at this, because if we have snowpocalypse, ice apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, we only have 2 vehicles in our fleet that are four-wheel drive?
Correct. And those are down at the water treatment plant for coming up the hill. Or in the city, we do, on public works side, we have our bigger sand trucks and our four-wheel drive, backhoe that we operate.
What about police?
All the stuff, except for my truck.
And I also don't
ambulance
see,
truck.
I don't see his vehicle in here. The police chief's truck.
What list are you looking
Yeah,
at?
I don't-
The brown one.
It's the one from the original proposal.
Gotcha. That, it likely has changed, maybe from inception. I'm not really sure what fleet list that was, so. I can get back to you and see. I believe it is part of the program, but,
It is.
yeah, but I don't know specifically why it's not on that sheet.
I would assume it's accounted for because we have 38 on here, and then you
Yeah,
said 37,
37, so
so that's probably
yeah.
it. Mhm.
Had it for like a year,
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was probably, since we went into contract, we wanted to probably be 20 of it.
Yeah.
So if we ever wanted to change this, y'all could, if we ever needed to, like if the department said that they needed to change their vehicle, whatever, y'all could bring that to you.
Yeah, and that, so, yeah, every year, there's a couple of core meetings that we'll have, you know, with Marvin, Jeremy, and the whole team. And before that, I typically, and I do a lot of communicating with Jeremy in particular, of, hey, all right, when we come out, here's the vehicles I'm looking to replace, and we'll go over the different specs that are needed for that year. And so I'm not gonna know if you need a 4x4 instead of 4x2, but if you tell me, yes, then that's what I'm gonna go out there and.
And is the app or the online working for y'all three?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all like that?
Yes. Keeps you updated very much. Any other
Is there a
questions?
next slide, or is this it?
That's it. So, the next slide says, thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, us, you know, this is the first time we've done anything like this, and it's pretty complex, and, right? There's lots
Yeah,
of
of course.
numbers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot.
We understand.
But in general, I mean, we're benefited by the wonderful resale market, right? That's going on, like we talked about, and we got lots of trucks. But in general, it is doing what we thought it was gonna do 2 years ago.
Yes.
Would you say it's doing better, the same, or worse than you
So it
expected?
depends on what, you look at it. I think financially, I think we're doing better as far as like the money coming back. We've been able to, capitalize on the better resale market than what we thought we were gonna have, 2 years ago. As far as, actual vehicles, I wish we would be fully implemented like we planned
Right,
to, but with
right.
cancellation. So it just depends where you look at it, but I think overall, this is incredible. This is definitely one of the best results I've seen, for a government entity in just 2 years. Absolutely.
Okay.
The only problem we were encountering, and we've talked about this numerous times, was purchasing the vehicle. It seemed to be harder to find them. There for a while, there was a shortage of, chips and everything else, so that affected it a lot there at the front.
But that's what you got the resale value on the others for.
Yeah.
And honestly, yes, there have been and there will continue to be headwinds, but that's really a huge, I guess, soft benefit of the partnership is we fight those for you. It's better than having to go out there and
Right.
search by a dealer and let us do all of that on your behalf.
Is there any other cost savings that you think that we could do or look forward to over the next couple of years with this program?
Sure, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, and I won't spend a ton of time on them, but generally speaking, I mean, one of the things that we could look at potentially, a couple of other programs that we offer, one is a telematics solution that you could use. Basically, think of that as like a geotab or like a GPS, essentially. Now, obviously, it's hard to be like, hey, that would cost something, but it would actually help you be able to monitor your fleet, monitor idling time. It'll send updates if there's something going on in the car. We'll be able to diagnose a maintenance issue before it came out, so if it's not on the program, or if it's an aged unit, or whatever. There's a lot of different benefits that can really help you be proactively to save costs.
Another great thing about Geotab is that it actually integrates with WEX, so the field program that you guys are on, and it talks to each other. So, for example, if Joe is putting gas at the Exxon down the street, because that's where the gas card said it was, swiped in, but the GPS on the vehicle recognized that it was 3 blocks down, it actually will send a report to someone, whoever is behind. So it helps you either fix behavior or just know that we're watching We are usually seen